Access Hampton and Harris with Bobbi Roquemore, where the world of sports meets the mic and the hammer of the law.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to a late night edition of Hampton and Harris with Bobbi Roquemore, coming to you live. I'm Ricky Hampton, along with my great friend, JD Harris, John Harris. Hope everybody's had a great evening. And JD, we wanted to come in and happy holidays to everybody out there, all our friends with Sports Fluent. We are a new show here on the network, and looking forward to having you all check us out. John and I have spent years covering sports at all levels, from high schools when we first started off to college and pros. John has covered NBA finals and Super Bowls, as I have. So we've been around the block a couple of times. JD is an author of several books, and I am proud to say I'll be a first-time author coming up in about a month or so. So thank you, brother. I appreciate that, JD. JD, I'm still getting used to saying that, man. I like it. I like it. Author Ricky Hampton.
Right.
Hey, but man, let's get to it, brother. The Emirates Cup. The Knicks went into Vegas and knocked off San Antonio, who knocked off the most awesome basketball team I've seen in a while, the Oklahoma City Thunder, in the semifinals. But the Knicks went in there and beat them to win the Emirates Cups. Your thought, number one, on the NBA Cup, and how you think, is it playing out the way the league thought it would, and what you thought about what you saw last night?
Good question. Is it playing out the way the league thought it would? Probably not. I don't think they wanted to see Oklahoma City and San Antonio, two small markets, in the semifinals. I thought it was a great game, maybe the best NBA game I've seen this year. The big market teams, I mean, New York won it, so they're the biggest market. But if you look at it from a competitive standpoint, I think that semifinal game was a great game for people to maybe discover some players they really didn't know a whole lot about, who they haven't seen a lot about. And I took something from that game. I thought it was interesting. I thought, to me, San Antonio approached that game like it was Game 7 of the NBA Finals. They were on point. They were hitting their shots. Wemby came in, played great in the limited minutes, totally influenced the game. Oklahoma City, that night, they just weren't good enough. But I think, looking at some of the comments from Wemby and what have you, I think San Antonio looked at that as more than a game. And I think they didn't look the same. They played a good game against the Knicks, but they didn't play with that same level of whatever against New York. Enough, taking nothing away from the Knicks, and especially not Spike Lee. Bless his heart. I'd hate for him to have to take that title away from him, because he really wanted to win that, man. He is a Knicks fan. I will give that to him, Spike. But I'm just kind of shaking my head a little bit, dog. I was like, okay, Spike, you go there, dog. But I think if they take a lesson from that, San Antonio, it should be like, that's going to be like the playoffs. You could play a great game in game one, a great game in game two of that series, but once they start to chart and figure out a way how they're going to handle Wemby or not. Wemby was not the same dominant player against New York that he was against Oklahoma City. That's a lesson for a long young team to learn. It's a big win over OKC. That was only their second loss, just one game though, and they came out the next day, didn't play quite the same. So I thought that's what I took from that. The Knicks played very well. I tip my cap to them.
But JD, you really hit on something, man. You got, because OKC's only two losses have come by San Antonio. But you get the playoffs, man, and these cats start digging in on you and charting you game by game. They know exactly when they're going to play, and they don't have to scout anybody else. It is an entirely different story. OKC has obviously been there and done that. And unless they have a rash of injuries, I hate to concede the NBA title in December, man, but it's going to be hard, I think, for somebody to be when they get to lock in on you in a playoff series. I think they're going to have to work because, Denver's a good team. San Antonio has shown they can give them problems. But I'm telling you, that is one of the best basketball teams I've seen in a long time, JD. You know the NBA as well as anybody. I'm interested to see how you see them historically so far.
Well, to go back to your point, I thought that was a good point. 2 years ago, they had the best record, I think, in the league 2 years ago, OKC. And they lost to Dallas. I think they got beat maybe pretty handily. That was a big learning lesson for them. That was the first time they had really gotten that far. Maybe they were a little confident or not, I don't know. But they learned from that. And then the next year they were in the finals and they win it. So that cup game, I hope, for San Antonio, they're very talented, but they got a lot of young players that have not been to the playoffs yet. And very rarely do you see a team historically in the NBA. You can look through all the years. A team that wins a championship, remember the Pistons, they had to go through it. They had to lose to the Celtics, right? Yeah. They had to take their beating before they won a championship. So you don't really get to skip line and go from what San Antonio right now to the finals. It generally doesn't happen that way, but they've got all the talent that's needed, to get there. But to answer your question about OKC, I mean, I looked at them, their rating actually went up almost a point from the last time we did it 2 weeks ago, which means they're continuing to play steady basketball. They lost that game to San Antonio, what about 2 points, 3 points, very close game. Wasn't much to choose from. They just hit some big shots. And I thought did a very good defense.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. They hit some.
On Shea. Shea, was hard for him to get his shot off. They did a good job on Shea. I thought they did. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to get to the Tendex ratings, your system you had in place long before anybody was talking about how you look at players through analytics and everything. And I can say to the viewers out there, it's been one of the most accurate rating systems I've run across. And JD was telling me about it a long time ago. I was like, oh, come on, man. What are you talking about, JD? But
everybody said that. But
yeah,
you listen. But you listen. Most people didn't listen.
But it is a tried and true method. It truly is. And in fact, let me pop this up here since I brought it up. This is the Tendex ratings, and we're starting in the Eastern Conference. And JD, break down to our new viewers, because each week here on Sports Fluence, we're going to be bringing in new viewers. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to send it to us. Talk about Tendex so our viewers out there can understand them tonight.
Yeah, well, Tendex is a point per minute rating system based on a team scale of 100. So in these stats that you see, 100 is the average rating for an NBA team. So this lets you know how these teams rank as far as how strong they are, how above average they are. Some are below average. It just depends. I just picked the top 8 out of each conference, and then we go with the top 10 total of both conferences. And the Knicks have gotten better. Last time I did their rating a couple weeks ago, so they've gone up over 1.5 points since the last time we did their rating. They replaced, because Detroit was ranked the high. And it's not a huge difference. You can see now they're 107.9, Detroit's 107. But what shows you how a team is getting better. Same with Boston. Boston is climbing a little bit. Their rating has gone up a little bit, which indicates to me that they're really adjusting to not having one of their superstars playing. And they're getting more comfortable with their system. They, along with Oklahoma City, are the 2 best teams as far as steals and turnovers. They have the best rating. Those are the 2 teams with the very best ratings, which means they have more turnovers than steals, but not a lot. most teams have a lot more turnovers than steals. And what that means is you're able to accumulate, taking possessions away from your opponent, creating more possessions for you. So I don't think it's a coincidence that OKC is where they are. But New York is strong. Detroit, Boston climbing. Orlando's been steady. Toronto. The thing I like about Tindex, it'll point out a team like Toronto that you don't maybe think about when you see their rating. That means they're in the mix. They're not there yet. But, they've got accumulation of young and veteran talent, and they can beat anybody. Just don't know if they can beat it on a steady basis, if they can rank up with the top team. Not at this point.
The team I see slipping, and before I say that, I got to apologize to our viewers out there. You weren't watching We Got Next with my great friend Paul Mokeski and Ricky Hampton. That was accidentally on the scroll. This is Hampton and Harris with Bobbi Roquemore, and now I got the right scroll going. So we got that out of the way. But JD, what's going on with Cleveland? Because a lot of people said with Boston, with their star being out, that Cleveland would just run away with the East, maybe have to deal with the Knicks. But they have really struggled. What is Tindex saying about what's happening over there?
They've dropped significantly. For a lot of last year, Tindex had Cleveland by far and away with the highest rating in the East, over 110. As you can see now, they've fallen off.
They lost tonight. They lost tonight.
Okay. They're an odd team. When I watched them in the playoffs last year against Indiana, a lot of young talent, that maybe just mentally not all there yet, not ready yet, and maybe feeling that, okay, like you said, okay, this is our year. The Pacers are down. Their superstars out. The East is ours this year, right? And it's not. And
they're learning that.
And so that's what I take from their rating at this point. They have enough talent to turn it around, but in the meantime, you got young teams like Toronto, Atlanta, and Detroit, who are getting better with more confidence, that are showing better overall consistent performances than Cleveland. Cleveland could beat anybody, and as they're showing right now, they can lose anybody.
They can lose anybody. And you mentioned the Pistons, man. That experience they had last year, taking the Knicks to the wire, I think was really good for them. I think that they got a taste of it.
Yeah.
And they got an excellent coach in J.B. Bickerstaff.
Yeah.
And they have really taken what happened to them, because they felt they should have beat the Knicks. I thought the Knicks were a better team, but I agree they had a chance to beat them.
Game 7
last year.
Went right down to the end, right? The last seconds almost.
Yeah, absolutely. Knicks, that doggone Jalen Brunson. And as Tindex does individual player ratings also, correct?
Yeah, I gotta get around to doing that, guy, and let people know, because there's been a debate about who's the best. Is it Shai? Is it Shai? Is it Jokic? And Tindex does a really good job of identifying that. I don't think there's probably, from a Tindex standpoint, there's probably not a lot of difference. I think that it comes down to personal preference.
How they fit your team.
Who do you like? Who do you like the best? I mean, if this guy's is going to have a team with the all-time best record, I'm going to have to look at him pretty seriously, even though Jokic is a dominant player in his own right.
Hey, JD, in past years, how is Brunson rated? I don't know if you saw the interview after the game the other night. His teammate Josh Hart was kind of chiding him, saying, well, he doesn't really he's really kind of slow. He's not very big, but he goes out there and gives you 40. He was just joking around because Jalen was sitting right there. But you look at him, if you were a scout, and it's like, I don't think he's a good enough athlete. I don't think he's big enough. But he is a highly productive player.
Yeah, it's interesting that you said last year I really hadn't paid much attention to him in college. You could tell a lot. One thing about Tindex, I could always go back and check Tindex ratings of players when they were in college. You can still do that as long as you have the available numbers. He had a top 5 draft rating, which I had no idea. And he was clearly under. Yeah, he was clearly. When he went to the second round, he clearly
second
the
round.
scouts missed on him. He had a very, very, very high rating. So what he's doing now is not a surprise, probably to people that didn't know him. But yeah, he was a very efficient player. He seems to be more of a volume guy now. He plays a lot of minutes, takes shots. His rating is a lot of that's accumulated over volume. Whereas Shad Gilgeous, is he even averaging 30 minutes a game? He's sitting out a lot of fourth quarters. More of an efficient guy, right? He's not taking a whole bunch of shots, and which means his Tindex is going to be pretty high too.
Right. Jalen Brunson was taken with the 33rd pick.
No, that's crazy. Yeah.
In the 2018 draft, the 33rd pick of that draft. Let's move over to the Western Conference here, and that number is just stunning. 115, because there's some good teams in the West. Houston's a good team, man.
Oh yeah,
Denver's a good team. Minnesota's a good team. All these are good. San Antonio, those are good teams.
Yeah, it really kind of puts it. And I think people are. Last year, I was kind of skeptical when I saw their rating. I said, okay, well, how does that compare to some of the great teams? And it does. It compares to some of the great NBA champions. Their season last year, and you know what? As great as the Bulls were, nobody looked the other way when they blew out the Nets one weekday or beat up on the weak sisters. They were supposed to. They won the games they were supposed to win big. So I'm not going to take away from OKC. Well, they're not playing anybody. Well, they're playing who's on the schedule.
Right.
And they're playing today's NBA. So I got to look at this NBA the same way I look at. And the thing about Tindex, it lets you know who Tindex's all-time greatest champion is. And I didn't get into it because there are other teams, but the Milwaukee Bucks for years had the best Tindex rating for an NBA champion, and they were a team that nobody ever looked at or thought about.
The team with Giannis.
No, Kareem, Oscar Robertson,
71.
And Bobby Dandridge.
Yep.
They had the very best. They destroyed everybody. And I think their rating would have been even higher, but I think over the last few weeks, they did what they do now. They didn't even play. So
so you could go all the way back. You could compare that 67 76ers team to.
Yeah, it's harder. It's harder in a sense because you have to go to where you don't have all the stats, because you remember the NBA started added some stats like block shots.
Yeah.
So some of the stats are not available. So I can compare them up to a point. That's why I kind of I got around 1980 or so, and then I slowed down, because if you go past that, a lot of times they didn't have all their stats available. But even my favorite team, the 76ers championship team, OKC had a higher rating than them. And, that hurt me to my heart.
The 83 Sixer team?
Yeah, that was my team, man.
And Moses.
Yeah, but their rating was just much higher. Now, would they have beaten them then? I mean, who can say? I don't know. I'm just going off of what the rating says. And Tindex is not infallible, but guess what? Neither are the scouts that let Jalen Brunson drop to 33 in the draft, right?
You're right. You're right about that, man. You're right about that. I'm surprised, and maybe they will one day, man. If I'm an NBA scout or a team, I'd pick this. I would order this. And JD, would you guys ever put this thing out there for fans to be able to order and
we've thought about it. For those who, and I don't endorse it, but for those who like fantasy basketball, wink, wink, it's a great system, because what you do is you pick the players with the best ratings. It may not be the top player, but it'll identify players that are very, very efficient, and you put your team together based off of players like that. Yeah, we've thought about it. Dave Herron, the originator, and I, we've thought about it from time to time. But thinking about now these days, maybe trying to get an app for it. for people that have more use for, and Tendex has been used. I will say this, it has been used overseas for years, in Europe, parts of Europe and Australia. They've used Tendex. They've used it to their satisfaction. Very few people use the real pure Tendex system. And one thing I've learned is that if you don't do Tendex correctly, you can overrate players and you can underrate them, because you have to factor everything in. And colleges are different, a little bit more difficult, because each college team has a rate that they play at, strength of schedule. So you have to factor in the strength of schedule for, someone from Michigan versus someone from Michigan Tech. And
Gotcha.
So it's a little bit, it's more complicated. It's harder for people to duplicate. To me, the NBA way to do it is very simple, really. It's simple. It's just that not many people know how to do it.
Let's move and look at the top 10. Of course, we got Oklahoma City sitting there at 115.2. Houston. The top 3 teams in Tendex are from the West, and then the Knicks and Pistons. You only got, I was going to say you got a few teams from the East in there.
Yeah,
I don't see the Lakers in there. I don't see the Lakers.
No, they're not in. They're not in the top 10. But it's funny. Their rating is very similar, and that tells me a lot. Their rating is very similar to what last year's rating was. I remember going into the playoffs. Some people had them going to the finals, and it didn't happen that way. And I was like, is that, are they really? So I did the rating, and it just really wasn't that high. And I'm doing the rating this year, and it's not really that high. So unless something changes dramatically, I don't see that changing a whole lot. I see them maybe they win a round in the playoffs, maybe 2 rounds, but they don't have the firepower or anything that's needed to compete with Oklahoma City, a Houston, or a Denver over a 7-game series.
The next time we do a show, we have to do the bottom 10 of the Tendex.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah,
because the Clippers might be atop the bottom team. What a disappointing team they've been, JD, to have guys like James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, and they at one point they had Chris Paul. Of course, Chris is probably out of the league now. He's not the same Chris Paul. It was an all-pro, all-NBA guard.
Yeah.
And what did you think about his dismissal from the team?
Yeah, I mean, I hate going off of stuff that, I don't really know, but you know what you hear. And then supposedly he was a disruption. The team saw him as a disruption, that nobody wanted to hear what he had to say. Sit over in the corner, little man, shut up. And but it's by the same token, they're just continuing to go out and lose. But like people say, they knew who he was, right? They knew he played for the Clippers before. They know he can be abrasive. They know he speaks his mind. They knew he was in his last year, and that he wasn't just going to sit by idly. The sad thing is that they're continuing to play poorly, and OKC sitting over. And I think here's an interesting. Check the box score tomorrow night. They play at Oklahoma City, and remember, Shai Gilgeous and Chris Paul are very close, because Shai's first year on OKC after he got traded, Chris Paul was there. Yeah. Chris Paul became like a mentor to him. So I'm sure in the back of his mind, Shai is like, okay, I might have to drop 40 on y'all tonight.
I'm going to light y'all up tomorrow.
That could be one of those 40, 50-point wins tomorrow night. Don't be surprised if you see that.
And check this out, JD. OKC has their pick.
That's crazy.
And it's unprotected.
That's insane.
So the Clippers continue to be the Clippers. And December 15th, I think today is the 17th. Earlier this week, Monday, I guess, teams are now eligible to start trading players. I think about 80-90% of the guys in the league can now be traded. Do you think we'll see a lot of trades this year?
You hear it every year. You hear, Giannis is going to get traded. I've heard that every year now. Giannis is going to get traded. This guy's going to get traded. I think those are fantasies for journalists for the most part. What they would like to see, you got to have a fit. I mean, if we haven't learned anything from Oklahoma City, the fit has got to be there, right? The fit,
Right.
the chemistry. Just because you pop Giannis on another team doesn't mean that team. Let's go, Giannis, go to the Lakers. Well, first of all, we'll trade our third string center and a package of bubble gum for Giannis. That's what the fan says, right? We're gonna give you all our trash.
Yeah.
And you give us Giannis. First off, that ain't happening, okay? So we will keep all our players. We want you to give us Giannis.
Exactly.
That's not going to happen that way. It don't work like that. And I
And
mean, putting him in the middle of
think,
that, I don't see that at all.
Especially a unique player like Giannis, man, who he could never go to the Lakers because, damn, LeBron's going to have the ball. Luka's going to have the ball. You need 3 or 4 basketballs if he went there. I'm sure they would try to make a place, but that wouldn't necessarily make them better. You just don't know the fit. But more than anything else, Giannis makes $54 million a year. So you're gonna have to come up with something to match that first. And you probably have to trade away 3 or 4 of your starters. Now you got Giannis, but you ain't got nobody to play with.
Yeah. Giannis doesn't know how good he has it in Milwaukee with the media. If he was in LA and New York, man, he don't know. It'd be crazy. The media there, expectations. Milwaukee, come on, nice. He ain't getting slammed there. You know what I'm saying? It's nice and
Midwest
quiet.
Nice.
Easy.
Midwest nice.
You don't know. He don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, everybody, welcome. You're watching Hampton and Harris with Bobbi Roquemore. I'm Ricky Hampton. Bobby's not with us tonight. We were just talking a little NBA hoops, the NBA Cup, sold out crowd in Vegas. I'm sure all the players like going to Vegas. I know those two-way guys like making up, about $500,000?
Oh, yeah. I was happy for those guys, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Merry Christmas to those cats, man. So we're there. We're heading towards Christmas break, and now I think this is when it's going to really start getting interesting, JD, because we talked about you could start seeing some trades now. You always hear about them. We'll wait and see. But you had somebody on the 10 decks. I meant to ask you about going back to the East, the 76ers. Yeah. We had a Joel Embiid sighting the other night. He dropped 39 on some guys. I mean, JD is still in him. Yeah. Can he? Is he at a point where he can bring that every night?
He probably, he should study the case of Charles Barkley. I remember I was working in Lexington, Kentucky. Charles Barkley was at Auburn. So I wasn't ready to cover those games yet, but I used to watch it on the TV. And he was huge. Yeah. He was huge. And he would come down the break and he would dunk. I remember one time he dunked on Melvin Turpin and he turned around and just started laughing. And but he went to the NBA and he struggled. And apparently Moses Malone said, dude, you ain't never going to make it. Yeah. And he lost a lot of weight. Yeah. People don't know how big he was. He was huge. Yeah. He lost a lot of weight and he became a great player. That's, to me, with Embiid with his leg, knee issues, that's the only way he's going to be able to maybe extend his career for a while. He's big. He's a big guy. He has to make a commitment to try to really lose some serious weight. I don't know if he can do that or not. Otherwise, he's going to continue to have those type of, lower body injuries. But talent-wise, yeah, he's as good as it comes.
Yeah, I saw him. I watched them play against the Pistons maybe 10 days ago or so. And, man, he was running like we do at the Y from the top of the key to the top of the key. He wasn't even trying. By the time he made it to the post to play, I mean, really, JD, the play was over. By the time he just could not keep up. So, and that was the first game he had played in a minute. So clearly He didn't
Yeah.
have his legs under him. But even with that, you got Maxie playing lights out, the Edgecombe, the young rookie,
Mhm.
and their Tindex rate is not bad, 101. I mean,
No, they got good young talent. They can get better. I mean, they're young. Now you're bringing Paul George back. He's gonna
yeah,
get his minutes and his shots. So now you got to make it work with the young and old. So they maybe by the end of January, February, if everybody stays healthy, they might be ready to make a nice run.
yeah, and I'm now going back west. I mentioned the Clippers. They are now 6-20 on the year.
Ugh.
Just unbelievable. Team with the worst record in the league is New Orleans at 5-22. Well, I take that back. Washington is 4-20.
Oof.
And yeah, man, that's Zion Williamson. How has Tindex rated him? Or does he even have enough time to be rated because he misses so much time?
Yeah, astronomical rating coming out of college, and has a good rating when he plays. He just doesn't play enough, but he's a very efficient guy. He scores at a high level, rebounds, not a bad passer, but he can't stay healthy and stay on the court.
Hey,
So the ability is there, but as he gets older and each year passes, it's just going to be harder and harder for him and he's going to keep breaking down physically.
And you just gave the example of Charles Barkley. There you go, right there.
That's it. Barkley, it was important enough for him to do that.
But brother, let me tell you, I cut Zion some slack. Having lived in New Orleans,
yeah, I hear you.
and JD, and that brother got a pocket full of money, man. So all the restaurants, I know it's hard for Zion, and he probably ain't paying for no meals either. He's over there at Commander's Palace.
You need to hire a chef.
Yep.
You need to hire a chef to cook him some low calorie Creole.
Yeah, really. Now, but this year he came back, seemed like he was in a pretty good shape. But I think he's out now for the next, I think maybe 10 days or so. He's out.
Yeah.
There's always something with that cat, man. And people are talking about
back. It'll be back out again. He'll be back.
They're talking about trading for him. Anthony Davis. I keep hearing his name coming up in a trade. In fact, there's been stories in the Detroit papers about Anthony Davis coming to Detroit. Anthony's 32, 33 years old. Obviously, an outstanding player when he's available. But I wouldn't, unless you want to give us into the bench for this dude. I wouldn't give up any of my frontline guys for that guy. I can't trust him to be there.
I think if you feel like he's the difference, in being a really good team, a playoff team, and potentially a championship team. But you can't play him. You got to be smart with how you play him.
Yeah.
You can't play him a bunch of minutes. You got to limit, not to the degree that Wemby's doing it, but you got to limit. Keep him down to 25. No more than 30 minutes, even less than 30 minutes. He's shown it over time. When he plays more minutes, he's going to break down.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust him, man. So I don't think Trajan Langdon, who's done an outstanding job putting this Piston games together in the front office, I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's going to mess with that because I think he thinks the Pistons, as they are, they could use a shooter. They could use Malik Beasley. They could certainly use him. They got Duncan Robinson as a good shooter. They could use another one. Even if they get there, I just don't see. I keep going back to OKC. I don't see anybody beating them, man. So should I go all in to get to the finals to get beat?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be fun and exciting to get to the finals. But you probably gonna get beat 4-1 if you win that one.
Yeah, the thing about sports, though, man, I think about Milwaukee. You know, when they won, and some people were predicting dynasty, right? And they
Yeah.
they haven't made it back. I mean, if you feel like you're that close,
Yeah.
and contractually, even though you got a lot of young talent like the Pistons, eventually it's going to be hard to keep all those players, right? Because they're all going to want to they're all going to
Yeah.
want to get paid eventually.
And all those contracts with Detroit are
But if you
going to
feel like
come
that's
out
the
right
piece
about the same
to
time.
take you over, or at least give you the best chance,
Yeah. So we'll see
you
what
go for it, right?
happens there.
The one thing about great general managers,
I couldn't hear you, Teddy.
you trade a guy a year before. You trade a
Yeah.
guy. The thing about great teams, great front offices, trade a guy the year before. You
Yeah.
know he's great and you're giving something up, but I know next year it's going to be a headache, whether it's contractually or whatever. You get rid of a guy a year earlier too. And if you have enough talent, if you have enough depth, trust, okay, you trade a guy, but the guy behind him, I mean, some of the guys on OKC, I didn't even know who they were.
Yeah.
And I didn't really remember seeing them play last year. And a lot of those guys have stepped up because they got an opportunity. And there are other teams with players on the roster like that. I don't know if Detroit's like that, if they're that deep. But if they really they can keep going at the pace they're going at, and you know them a lot better than I do. Or if they can add that one piece that can take them past the Knicks and get them into the finals, maybe you take that chance.
Well, to that point, don't be surprised if they do something. I think it'll be for another 3-point shooter. They're not a very good 3-point shooting team, and which is why they lead the league. And the good thing about the Pistons, they're smart enough to know they can't shoot from the outside, so they attack the basket. They lead the NBA in paints and paint points. The last time I checked or watched the game. Any other thoughts with the NBA, JD? Move on to a couple other topics before we get out of here, man.
Well, I think we kind of touched on, I'll tell you, I will tell you this. And I watched the podcast with I'm going to name it, with a bunch of former NBA players. I was really disappointed. It was when OKC played Phoenix and Grayson Allen got called for a flagrant fly-out foul and got ejected. And they were all saying, oh, yeah, it was a get back. And the first thing I said was, wait a minute. Grayson Allen, we're talking about the same guy at Duke that tripped 100 people, that's been a cheap shot artist since he's been in the league. How many incidents have you seen him with tripping somebody? Yeah. I said, man, back in the day, that wouldn't have been a problem because somebody like Oakley or Davis acknowledged that this guy has a track. They kicked him out of the game because he has a track record for that. I can't believe that he's still getting away with it and that someone hasn't dealt with him on the court or off the court to make sure you ain't going to do this no more, son.
Yeah.
He just always kind of slinks away like he didn't do nothing. And I was like, wait a minute, guys, why aren't you not acknowledging this guy? He's a nemesis. He's a cheap shot artist. He's injured a few people behind us through the years. And he just signed a huge contract a few years ago,
Yeah,
it was Chad Holmgren. It was Chad Holmgren. He got into it with Chad Holmgren.
Let's see here. To your point about this dude, JD, maybe he's just goofy, man.
Those goofy ones are the dangerous ones, man.
Let's see if I can get this.
Talented guy. I remember when he was a freshman.
I was trying to. Let me see here. Kind of showing him in action here over the years.
In action?
Can you see this? You see that? I mean, this is college days. That's a clear trip, man.
You trip people all the time.
Oh, I didn't do it.
It's just your excuse to always make excuses for him. he'd always alibi for him. But I didn't think it would continue in the NBA because I figured
here it is right here. This is
on that.
This Duke day.
Yeah,
that's clear. That's clear.
I can't believe nobody in the league has stepped up and done something to him to send a message. No one sent a message to him.
Yeah, that's
cheap shot artist, man.
You know what? Next show, I'm gonna find some more recent, because I totally agree with you there. And then these guys make too much money to have somebody out there playing dirty basketball.
He's a dirty player. He's a dirty player.
He's a dirty player. Yeah. So, and the NBA guys didn't say anything about.
No, I was like, they were all in there. Well, they said he should have gotten thrown out, but also like the difference between the folks like us and those guys. We're going to talk. I didn't play on the court at that level, so I can't talk like that. But I can talk about, this guy has had a track record since college of being a cheap shot artist. So maybe another player wouldn't have gotten thrown out, but because of his record, the referees didn't have a problem getting rid of him because he's done it. I would say in the NBA at least more than a half a dozen times, and probably closer to 10. And I can't even count the number of times he did it in college.
Yeah. We'll get to that. Hey, speaking of college, the big conversation in the world of college athletics has been the firing of Sharon Moore at University of Michigan, football coach, and everybody knows the details now. I don't have to waste time going through that. But what I wanted to do, just ask you, how does this impact things going forward? And do you think this impacts coaches of color as they go forward? Because you look now, when you hear everybody talking about, well, who's replacing Moore at Michigan, there's not an African-American coach's name on that list. And who knows? Maybe they will hire another African-American coach. The AD at the University of Michigan is Manuel Ward, an African-American man. But my thought is it hurts. We were just talking about the grocery store thing, the guy robbing the liquor store. I didn't do it. The next coach, he didn't do it. Why are you trying to punish me for something I ain't have nothing to do with?
Yeah.
But I do believe that occurs. But I do believe that occurs, Jason.
Yeah. I shouldn't. Other black coaches should not be held accountable for this knucklehead. Like I said, the guy robs a liquor store, brother robs a liquor store, and all black people, we're all feeling bad about it, feeling like it's a reflection on us. And we got people killing kids at schools all the time. I don't hear anybody jumping out saying, "Oh my God, I'm taking that mass shooting on myself." No, that's that fool over there. Well, that's
that dude. Yeah,
that's that fool at the liquor store, and that's that fool who blew a golden opportunity at the University of Michigan, and he should be judged solely off of that. And any other coach coming up should not be judged by that guy. Unfortunately, like you say, it's another excuse for why I don't have to reach out and bring in somebody else.
Yeah, and college athletics is already such a volatile world now. As we talked about on the show last week, it's free agency every week, every year in every sport. Oklahoma State, they got 25 guys in the transfer portal. They got 2 whole starting teams in the transfer portal, plus 4 backups. So whoever takes over that job, they were already, I think they were 1-10 last year.
Yeah.
1-11.
The problem with the portal, Rick, is that, like you say, coming from a team that's not that good, all these 25 guys, they may be in the portal, but maybe half of them might get opportunities, and the other half might not get anything.
Yeah.
Then what? You play for Oklahoma State.
And then you get stuck. You get stuck.
Yeah. Then what are you going to do?
And that happens in basketball quite a bit. I think Paul Mokeski and I were talking about it on our show. This was early on when the Florida first opened, and my numbers may be off a little bit here, JD, but it was like 1,500 guys in the portal, and maybe half of them didn't even get picked up by anybody. Now, if you thought she should have played 20 minutes but only played 15, I'm transferring. I'm going to the portal. And that's happening at every level. So
but it's good for the players that they have the freedom and flexibility. It's bad
absolutely,
because what are you learning? What are you taking from that? If the coach looks at you cross-eyed, he plays the other guy ahead of you. Okay, I'm taking my ball. I'm going home. What are you developing? What kind of mental sports, especially football, is about mental toughness, right? Overcoming pain, injury, obstacles. So what are you learning now? This portal is not encouraging that. Yeah, I don't like it anymore. I'm gone. So now you're bringing players in now. If they do make it to the next level, their mindset is, how do you coach that? That's what they've been doing for the last 6, 7, 8 years. How do you deal with that at the pro level? The guy, you coach him hard and he pouts or whatever. It's good for the kids. It's good for, let me put it this way. It's good for the kids that are able to financially get something out of it. But those that don't get financial benefits, I don't think it's that good for them.
Yeah, and it's been devastating to a lot of the lower level football programs, particularly HBCU programs. Yep. If you play at Jackson State, you have a great season. Ole Miss, LSU. Hey man, let me give you 25 grand. It don't take much because the brother wasn't getting nothing at Jackson State. You give 50 grand. Oh, I'm gonna come over here. Hey. Mm-hmm. I can't blame the guy for doing that.
Oh no, not at all.
Yeah, so it's causing problems all over the place, and we'll just have to see how some of these schools are going to address them. I know Tennessee State University in Nashville has started I can't call it a booster club. I guess it is a form of a booster club. It's called the 1912 Club. And these guys, 1912 is when it became Tennessee State. And they are fundraising money to help retain players, to use an NIL, to try to make that program more competitive. TSU football may have gone 2-10 or something this year, which is totally embarrassing for a once proud program like that. And I think what they're trying to do is a good thing, because if they don't, the program's just doomed. And a lot of other programs are going to be doomed if they can't figure out the money part of it. And look at Vanderbilt.
Whoever thought that would have happened?
Never. Brother, trust me, never did I think that. But Vandy already has millions of dollars, and they decide to pour it into the athletic program. And look at the results. So that, more than anything, that tells you now that college athletics is about the dollar bill.
Yep.
And it's a perilous world to be in. And coaches like Moore had an opportunity, and we'll see how that plays out for him. I think his coaching career is probably going to be over.
Maybe an analyst somewhere. Maybe an analyst somewhere in a couple of years.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to go away for a couple of years and try to work his way back. But the guy made some mistakes, and now you're gonna have to eat that, bro.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to eat that. Hey, a couple of things before we get out of here. First of all, tell us about your book and Coach Mike Tomlin, because really, Coach Tomlin is really one of the guys who's in the spotlight as the season winds down. The Steelers are fighting for a playoff spot as usual, because the guy always has them in the hunt. They actually come to Detroit to play the Lions this weekend, and the Lions are fighting to stay in the playoffs. I think that might be the 4:00 game.
I think you're right.
Yeah, it probably is such an important game. But you wrote the book on Tomlin, and first of all, talk about that, and talk about where you think he is at this point in regards to his future in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Tomlin, the soul of a football coach, is the definitive biography of Pittsburgh Steelers coach Mike Tomlin. 2 weeks, I was watching the Monday night game. It was just hilarious. They beat Miami like a drum, but 2 weeks earlier they got beaten like a drum by Buffalo, and the fans were chanting "Fire Tomlin." These same fans the other night, they were roaring, they were cheering. I couldn't help but just laugh. It was hilarious. And if they lose another game or two, they'll be chanting "Fire Tomlin" again. It's insane. They're in a good spot to go to the playoffs.
How does he handle that kind of stuff?
Every 2 weeks when he goes and cashes that direct deposit.
Yeah. he looks in there. Baby, can you check the account for me? Is it in there? Oh, we good. We good. Okay. Carry on.
To answer your question.
Yeah.
I don't know how you have to just block it out. I mean, the thing is, they're 2 games over 500. They got 3 games left. Everybody's figuring they're going to lose to Detroit this week because Detroit desperately.
I don't know. Detroit defense, they're going to play Aaron Rodgers with an entire defensive backfield
game.
Second unit. So it might be a shootout. So anybody can win that. But go on.
Hey. Yeah, the following week they play Cleveland at Cleveland, and surprisingly, they haven't won in Cleveland in a while. It's always a tough game in Cleveland. That could be interesting. So then the final game of the year is against Baltimore, which may or may not mean anything at that point. So if they win the division, they'll go to the playoffs, play in a wild card game, but they will host it. And then, like people say, anything can happen. The question the fans or whoever, the people that call themselves fans, are asking is, we've seen this before.
Yeah.
Can you win a playoff game?
Yeah.
Can you win 2 playoff games? Because if you guys just go 10-7 and lose in the first round of the playoffs again, they're going to be upset again. And that's where and they feel like another coach can come in and take it to that next level. And I guess that's the big question. How do they handle these last few games? And when they get into the postseason, are they able to win a game or two? Hey, I want them to go to the Super Bowl, dude. I'm trying to sell books here.
Yeah.
Hey,
but you
I'm
know
not proud.
Huh? If he ever left Pittsburgh, he would have his choice of jobs. He would be the number one candidate of any NFL job is open. And I think I don't know if he would ever want to do this, but he would be a hell of a college coach.
He's spoken out. He's spoken out very strongly against college, or maybe
because of all the BS in it now.
Yeah, I think for the NFL, if there is another place for him, I think there will be openings for him, but I don't think he could just go to any of them. I think he has to pick one. He's not going to find another ownership group like he has here in Pittsburgh, which has the patience.
Right.
And sensitivity that the Rooneys have. And he pretty much has the power to do what he wants. So he'd have to find another place like that. And a lot of these teams have general managers in place. So you got to find the right fit, right? You got to find the fit where, your decisions are valued. People who you want to trade for or draft, so you're on the same page with your general manager. So it's important that he finds a place like that where he can go in, or where he's going to get the control to do all that. I think those things are very important to him. A team that has a quarterback, and there are not many of them out there. Yeah. He's not going to go to a situation where there's no quarterback. He's already got that.
He hadn't had a quarterback in a while, man.
No.
He really hadn't. And Rodgers has probably been his best quarterback. And Rodgers, what, 45, 48, 49? I don't know.
He just turned 43 the other day, man.
Yeah. So shoot, man. He's his best quarterback. But yeah, man, that's going to be interesting there. Man, we've had some injuries. Patrick Mahomes, ACL, Michael Parsons, ACL. We certainly wish those guys a healthy recovery. The NFL is a great game. The only bad thing about that game are the injuries, and they're just going to happen. And a lot of times these injuries will determine, who wins or who loses. That the same way with the NBA nowadays. So we wish everybody well. JD, we're going to get out of here, brother. But again, I tell you, pick up this book. If I was at home, I'd show you my copy of Tomlin, Soul of Coach.
You got a picture of your book too, right, Rick?
But I'm on the road. I will get that. I'm going to have, trust me, brother, after Christmas, I'm going to have mine set up. And JD, where can people get your book?
Oh, they can get it at Amazon, all the booksellers, Barnes and Noble, and you can go to my website.
And JD, you also do columns for Substack.
Actually, John Harris Inc.
JD, you cut off a bit.
.com. You can buy it there.
You cut off on me, JD.
You want to learn about Tendex? What's that?
You cut off on me when you were talking about your website.
Can you hear me? No?
And I mentioned you also write for Substack because I am a subscriber to your work there.
Yeah, Substack. If you want to learn about Tendex, I really spend a lot of time with the colleges. I explain how the system works. I look at the top ranked players. I was going to wait till the beginning of the year and come out with my list of the top players in college, but go back into my archives, you can learn a lot about Tendex. I don't give away the secrets, how to use it, but I tell you about how it works. Men's and women's college basketball. I've become more of a fan of women's college basketball through Tendex.
Hey, so and we'll get into some of that as the basketball season, because now basketball is really about to kick into conference play after Christmas, and we'll see what goes on from there.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun with that. We got a lot of fun with that.
We're gonna get out of here. This is a late night edition of Hampton and Harris with Bobbi Roquemore. We'll see you next time. Happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas. For my friend John J.D. Harris, I'm Rick Hampton. Peace, everybody.
Peace. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Chai.